Well, hello. Today's random phrase generated was "Ride 'em, cowboy! Ride 'em, cowboy!" which is usually a cheer people scream at rodeos to cowboys that are riding untamed horses or untamed animals in general. I guess you could say, a bull or something like that as well. So, how am I going to use this in a phrase or in this video? Ride 'em, cowboy! All right, let's take the analogy of a cowboy being an experienced rider who can ride many different animals. Oftentimes, he can even break those animals and domesticate them, from taking them into the wild and taming them into the real world. You could say the domesticated, civilized world. And you could take the horse, you could take the bronco, or the Mustang, or wild bull as a volatile, chaotic, free-spirited thing that you don't have tons of control over, but maybe you could see it as a ton of potential if properly broke. That's how you word it, I guess. So, if you take that context, you could take anyone who has done hard things, plus any kind of new goal or project or adventure that they are about to embark on as a wild horse. And oftentimes, when a cowboy or a tamed individual, who we'll now say is a high performer, that's what we'll name them. When a high performer is about to take on an ambitious project being wild Mustang, right? There needs to be a support group, one that high performer can fall back on, that can look to for support, and most importantly, help them in their times of down and darkness, in their times of frustration and challenge, in helping them and reminding them of the light or the goal that they're seeking to achieve, the adventure that they're on, the project they're wanting to complete, and do so in such a way where it invigorates and empowers them and revives them to their natural state. It helps remind them that this is what's going to happen. This is how people are going to benefit from you having done this thing. And it's really, really important that you don't lose sight of that end goal. And we're here as your cheerleaders to say, "Ride 'em, cowboy!" in those times of darkness. And so I don't know why I'm on a marathon kick, but the very first marathon that I ran was in Maui. So it was, 6 months after I got home from my mission. I had never trained for a marathon before. I didn't even train for this one. I was in good shape, but I hadn't run up to more than 8 miles prior to signing up for this marathon and then running it. And so I was very ignorant and optimistic about going into this marathon, thinking, I'm young, I'm healthy. This ain't gonna be a problem. I've ran 8 miles before. How hard could it be? And kind of threw caution to the wind and ran this marathon. So I get about halfway into it, around 13, 14 miles, and I see the halfway marathon mark. Now, granted, the marathon and the half marathon were the same trail. And so when I got to the half marathon mark, it kept going, but there were all these sessions and stands at the 13.1 mile mark, the half marathon mark, that were all kinds of like food you don't eat on a marathon, but you definitely eat after you finished a marathon. And I didn't know this. So I get to mile 13.1, and I finish the half marathon, and I see all these concession stands, and they've got muffins and nuts and chips and soda and all this good stuff. And I'm going, man, I'm starving right now. This is the best, this is the best aid station I've seen so far. I'm definitely bulking up. So I get 2 or 3 cups of nuts. I get 2 or 3 muffins. I have one donut in my mouth. I've got another donut on this finger, and I've got a drink. And I'm like, I'm going to walk this next mile, and then I'm going to get back to running. I put down all of those nuts. 2 muffins, two donuts, and this soda, right? And I get it all in my system, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's get back to running. So I'm running, and it doesn't take more than like a mile or two before I start feeling queasy. I'm like starting to see 2 of everything, and I'm starting to get the sweats, and it's not like because I'm hard working, it's because like I feel like I'm gonna puke because like this isn't good. And that's exactly what happened. Around mile 16, I had to pull over and just hurled everything I had eaten at mile 13. Everything. And after like projectile vomiting multiple times off to the side of the road, I look up and I can barely see mile 17, like the marker, mile 17 off in the distance. And I'm thinking, what? I've got another 10 miles? There is no way that I'm going to be able to do this. And right when I saw that mile 17 marker, right when I saw it, I'm thinking in my head, geez, oh man, how do I get out of this? How do I quit? Like, you know what? I don't care at this point. I didn't train, whatever. I'm going to be embarrassed because I didn't finish, but like, whatever. Like, I can't do this. There's no way that I have the physical energy to be able to do the rest of this marathon. And then this guy, another fellow runner, came out of nowhere. Hey man, you doing all right? And I responded, no, I feel awful. I just hurled back there. Seeing that I've got like another 10 miles, I just don't see it. I don't think I can do it, man. I just don't think I can do it. And this guy, either what I would call like an enlightened angel, either saw the state that I was in or recognized that like I really needed some help and support at that moment. And so he said, well, you know, I need to take a break anyways. Do you mind if like I walk with you? And like, I was like basically hallucinating at this point. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, okay. So I'm like walking and this guy just starts asking me all these random questions. So where are you from? Where'd you grow up? You know, what do you like to do? What do you like about the marathon? You know, and he just kept my mind off of the fact that I had 10 more miles to run. And after the first mile and really exerting so much effort and just responding to these questions, I started to feel a little better. Started answering his questions. And then I started asking him questions. And then he asked at one point, he's like, hey, do you mind if you want to try jogging just for the next half mile, see if it works? And if not, like, I'll slow down again. And I was like, yeah, I guess I could do that. And this guy basically babied me and held my hand until the very end of the marathon. He was basically saying, ride 'em, cowboy! Cheering me on to try to undertake and achieve this goal that I had. But I didn't really know it. I really didn't know it. I saw this guy as like he needs a break like I do. He's tired. And it's like, this is actually kind of nice having company. And so he and I kind of got chatting, and I found out that he was an executive marketer at some big company in California, and he had a family, and this was his multiple nth marathon and all this different stuff. And at the very end, I can see the finish line. And he goes, all right, dude, you think we can run it? Like the last little stretch? And I was like, I think I can. So we start picking up the pace again, and we run across the marathon. And I finished in like a really, really bad time. I can't even remember it. But I do know it was way past 5 hours. I think it was close to 6 hours, like right at the finish line. And the guy finishes up the marathon with me. They put the medal over my neck, and they hand me some water, Gatorade at that point. And the guy says, he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, you did great, man. You did great. And then turned around and left, disappeared. I never got that guy's name. I never figured out like where he's actually from. like there was nothing about him. And then I started looking for him. I went to the marathon runner thing, and I was like, okay, who finished right at the same time as me? And it didn't show up. There was no one there. Like, there was no person next to me that said like the running time. And I was like, what the heck? What the heck? And I know it was a dude. Like, I know it was a real guy, but I just, for some reason, could never get back to him and thank him for helping me. And as he was saying, ride him, cowboy, for the the last 8 miles of my marathon, he did it in a way where he helped me in what you could say was my darkest moment during that marathon. He was supporting me and he was cheering me on at a point that I needed it most. And if it wasn't for having that angel, that enlightened angel, come to my aid at that time and help me bridge the gap from where I was to finishing the marathon, I don't think I would have finished. I think I would have looked back on that and gone, man, that's one of those regrets that I wish I had done. Why didn't I just muster up the courage and the strength to just endure? And it makes me think that, like, when you have people in your corner, when you have a network that supports you and can sustain you and encourage you and inspire you, invigorate you, restore you to your natural state in those moments of darkness and challenge, and when you're grappling with the idea of quitting altogether, it's really, really, really good to have those kinds of people, that kind of network in your corner, constantly telling and reaffirming and cheering you on with, ride 'em, cowboy! And that is the random word generator for today. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see. Oh, look at this. Random word. Oh, I'm going to put like that. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Random word. Ride 'em, cowboy. Ah.